Okay, so we're here with the one and only Teri Ijeoma. She is the millennial millionaire. Also, she's the investor, guru extraordinaire, trade and travel. Hello there, Teri Ijeoma, in your beautiful new home.
Hey Karen, how you doing?
I'm good, and you were flexing and stunting on the gram, showing off your house. It's beautiful, by the way.
Here, I'll show y'all you see it?
Okay.
Hey, no.
All right. So before we get into what I brought you here to talk about today, buying homes. How many houses? What number is this for you?
This is 2. I have one property in Chicago that I rent out, and then I have this one that's for me.
Okay. And buying this one for you, how important was that?
For me, I think the coolest part about it is I bought it cash. And it was a big deal because, like, one, just to be able to afford that. So, like, it's a pretty expensive house, like over $700,000 expensive. And I tried at first to get a mortgage. Like, the original thought was, well, my payments in my apartment are super high, and the mortgage rates are low, but I couldn't get one. And I know, like, a lot of people, like, I was looking on a TV show today. It's an issue. Like, Black people, sometimes we just can't get mortgages, even when we have everything in a row. And that happened to me. So then I said, well, fine, I'll just buy it myself. And so that's what happened. So I think just the fact that I could.
I was like, so when you showed up with the suitcase or the checkmate, literally, right? Oh, the power of that. And as you're saying that, Teri, one of the reasons why we are in concert right now is that I need everyone to feel that power, to not ever be handcuffed or feel bad. I've had so many subprime loans, I have 2 subprime loans right now that I know I don't deserve to have because my credit is over 750. I know that I don't deserve to have because I've been working for 17 years at Hunter College. I know I don't deserve to have them because everything, I paid all of my bills on time. And yet I still got shepherded into a bad loan. And, so when you say that, it's triggering because, you're made to feel like you're not worthy, of something. And then you're disappointed and they keep moving the bar. I had a friend that just bought a house and she had everything in a row. And then they came back last minute, well, you need to do this.
Yes.
Okay, did that. Oh, you got to pay off your lease. Who has to pay off? You paid off your lease. Now you got to get rid of your lease. What? So at every turn, it's like, now I don't have a car that I just shelled out the entire amount for. And you're still telling me I can't get this loan. So yeah, that you can do that is the ultimate power. And it must feel really good to live in that beautiful ass house and not owe a dime on it except tax.
Yes. Like, my payments, I was thinking through, I was like, dang, what are my monthly payments? I pay my light bill and I have a gas bill because it's a gas stove. And then that's about it. So now I'm like, okay, I need a cleaning lady and a lawn guy because I can afford it. Like, what else am I paying for?
Okay. So we initially were talking about, and I've had you on my radio show several times, ever since I met you in Dallas at Angela E. Matthews, wonderful, her first conference ever, the Happy Investor Method. And we sat next to each other. And I remember you were sitting there and you had your charts and stuff and you just had this wonderful personality. I didn't know really that you were going to go up there and speak, but you did. And when you went up there, you dropped so much knowledge. I was like, okay, I'm going to invite you on my show. And you came on, and this was maybe a couple of years ago. You came to my first retreat, the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise retreat that we had in 2019. And you gave a sermon, which was amazing. And now the last time I had you on, you said something that sparked something in my spirit that made me reach back out to you, which is why we're on this video right now. You said, I believe that God put me here to use the stock market to fund businesses. And when you said that, I was like, is she serious? So I called you. I was like, Teri, you serious about this? And you were like, yes, I'm serious. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, so I have this business that I'm forming in one of my many businesses, but this one is one that's near and dear to my heart because I believe that it's important and necessary. Like, who doesn't believe their business is important and necessary? But I want to train the next wave, the next generation of journalists. I need us to have representation, media representation, real hardcore on the ground people telling stories, from Ghana to Ethiopia to Brazil to Jamaica. Jamaica has one of the best, most successful stock markets right now, and I don't know too much about it. I need to know more about what's going on. Ethiopia's president planted 1 million trees, and he's doing stuff for homeless people. I need a reporter that's just there telling us what's happening there. Rwanda is doing some things right now that are amazing. After what we know with the genocide, they've totally turned it around. Zimbabwe's got some issues. I need to know what's happening there, and they're killing people in Brazil, but we don't know about it in Haiti. So I just feel like if I don't do it, there's not a news outlet that cares about us enough to train people in how to do it. So I have something called the Hub that right now is pretty much just history and some other things, but the vision for that is to have journalists all over the diaspora telling our stories through our lens. And so I said to you, Teri, I need to fund this. Can you help?
And I absolutely love that vision. Just thinking about it now, like my family is in Nigeria. And so just knowing like, I don't know what's even happening with them. The only lens I have is what I hear from my dad. And so even if there were media over there that could tell us the true story of like what's happening to Black people all over the world, like that would just be amazing. And I'm excited for your vision. I just love it. I'm so excited for your vision.
So let's talk about your vision, because I think beyond you rolling up your sleeves, and let me just say the stock market right now is doing really well, and people are saying, well, that's the economy as well because the stock market is well. No, the stock market is well because rich people are doing well. Rich people are doing well, and because I think it's like 3% of Black people are invested in the stock market, we're not benefiting from that. Right? So there's a paradigm shift that has to happen. So more than you using the stock market to invest in companies, and I'm going to be the first guinea pig that I think is going to work out well for.
Yes.
This is also going to free people to be able to do what you're doing, which is to be able to buy a house cash if you need to, or travel wherever you want to in the world and have the kind of autonomy and freedom that money can give you. And you're doing it using the stock market. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes. My ultimate vision when I just dream big is to see more color in investing. Because I feel like right now it is very much a white people driven thing. Like I saw a statistic and it said 60% of white households were invested in the market, but only like 36% of Black, but that included their retirement. So it definitely is a lot lower if you think about just individual investing. But then on the flip side, we think about these stimulus bills and all the money from the stimulus bills, trillions of dollars went into the stock market. So what households did it go to? It went to white households because they're the ones that are invested. We missed out on all of the money that was coming. And so I just feel like we've got to do something to get more of us into the market and more of us investing so that we don't miss out on all the wealth that's being generated. I saw another thing too recently, and it was like Elon Musk, he's been making like $11 billion a day or something like that on stocks. We could be a part of that, but most of us aren't investing. Like it's just, there's so much wealth to be had out there. So yes, like my big goal lately, we've been trying to get 1,000 people to make $1,000 a day in the stock market. That's what I've been trying to teach folks. And it's actually working. Like we actually are at 320. I haven't even told you that yet, Karen. Yes, we're up to 320.
Okay, so you started this, when was it, back in January?
Yeah, like, and we really didn't advertise much. It was more like February-ish.
Okay, 300 people are making $1,000 a day in the stock market because Teri Ijeoma has taught them how to trade.
Yes.
Wow, that's life changing. If you think about $1,000 a day, how many of us make $1,000 a day? Just think about that for a second. $1,000 a day. That's $5,000 a week, $20,000 a month, 200 and my math, 200 and what is something thousand?
Like 240,000, yeah, a year.
What she said a year. Trading. Yes. Now, if you make half that, right? So you have 300 plus, how many?
320.
Already make more than $1,000 because I know a couple of them because you highlight them on your Instagram, which is, I am an investor.
I'm an investor. It looks like Imani investor.
All right. So I've seen people more than 1,000. But if you make $500 a day,
that's still $2,500 a week, $10,000 a month with just $500 a day.
Trading. And what I know, what intrigued me when you came on the first time is that you do most of your trading in like a couple of hours a day. Like, talk a little bit about your personal journey, MIT, brilliant vice principal, and that's your journey as an educator as well. But tell us a little bit about how you got into the stock market and when it clicked for you that this could be a game changer.
So I've been investing in total about 10 years. And I was first introduced to it in high school. And then again, when I interned on Wall Street in college. And as you said, I went to MIT. So that was like a natural progression for us. You're either on Wall Street or you're in consulting. So I interned in Wall Street and was like, I don't like this, but I did like the money part. So even as I went into my career of education, I would trade stocks on the side to make extra income. But to tell you the truth, I didn't really know what I was doing until about 7 years into trading. I know, right? See, and that's why I'm so passionate about helping people, because a lot of people are getting into the market and they don't know what they're doing. So they need to be educated. And I've been there. But about 7 years in, I really wanted to quit my job as an assistant principal. And I needed an exit strategy. So that's when I said, okay, I'm going to get serious about this stock thing. And I'm going to stop playing with it. Like, yes, it's fun. I like seeing the companies, but I'm going to make a goal to replace my income. And I needed $300 a day. So started practicing, win some, lose some, but then started getting consistent. There was even one day, and I'm not even sure if I told you this story, Karen, but there was one day I was in my office as assistant principal, and mind you, I hated this job, but I was going to try to do my best because I just felt like, if I'm here, I gotta do my job. But I was trading in my office, and all of a sudden heard this big ding, like, you're out of the trade. And exactly at that time, my principal had walked in the door. So he looks at me, I look at him, and it's like, oh my gosh. And I looked at the screen, I had just made $3,000. And I'm sitting here at the time, that was more than almost my monthly salary as an assistant principal. So I'm like, I just made enough to leave this job. I don't care what you say. And he looked at me and he didn't say anything. He just walked out the office. And when that happened and I knew I could make more in a day than my whole month at this job that I hated, that was a huge game changer. Then go ahead. I was gonna say, then on top of that, a friend had passed away. And so I knew that life was too short. So all these things kind of came together at the same time for me to say, okay, Lord, I know that you've got more for me. And when I wrote in my journal, if I could do anything, I just want to trade stocks and travel the world. And that's what I did. I quit and started traveling all the world, trading stocks.
How many countries?
Ooh, 7. And then right now, I've gone to a couple more. So now I think it's 9. But at the time, I went to Australia, Asia, different parts of Asia. So I was in Vietnam, South Korea, then went to Israel, just everywhere. I was laying in the Dead Sea, just everywhere. Greece, made money on the beach in Greece. I just wanted to be as far away from a school building as possible. And that's what I did.
Because this life is to be lived. This is a journey. And this freed you to do the thing that you wanted to do. Now, tell us about this vision that you had, that why we're here right now. Yeah. Tell us about this vision.
So what's crazy is when Karen came to me and asked me about, are you serious about this business thing, funding businesses? It had already been planted in my spirit a while before she asked. So when she came to me and she's like, we need to make, can I tell them how much you wanted to make?
Yeah.
Is that all right?
And here's the thing. We're going to be transparent because, there's no mystery to this. This is math. For you, it's math, right? Mm-hmm. It's charts, it's graphs. This is not gambling. We're not doing anything, nefarious. My business is going to be a nonprofit because the goal is to educate folk on how to be journalists everywhere in the world. So it's a nonprofit. So we're going to be transparent. We're going to check back in. You're going to see everything. I'm going to show you what I'm doing with the money. So there's not going to be any, I feel like most of us have been raised in homes where, children are to be seen and not heard. Parents don't talk about money. It's impolite to talk about money. So we, as a culture, we don't talk about money. Or we have the opposite where people talk about money that they don't really have. So you have folks, money ain't a thing, and they got all these fancy cars, and then they're in IRS trouble. They end up in jail because they didn't pay their taxes or what have you. So we have 2 things happening in our community, and both are false. Both are wrong. You know, we need to be transparent about the things we're doing financially, because there's no mystery here. And we need to celebrate, you know, the real stuff that's going on. Like, you can be a principal of a school and be a millionaire. You can be a truck driver and be a millionaire. You can be a teacher, an educator, and be a millionaire. You don't have to be a rapper or a basketball player, and nothing wrong with that. But it's like 0.1% of people end up in the NBA. You know, they end up becoming a rapper. There are a whole lot more engineers and truck drivers and bus drivers and school teachers than there are rappers and basketball players. So why not steer our kids into things that they want to do and then teach them how to make money?
Yes. And even for those people who are doing well, like lawyers and doctors, like I also want to teach them how to be a millionaire, because what I've also found is a lot of them are spending it frivolously, have really high expenses, or they just don't know what to do with their money. So I have
or they have high student loan debt, because I have several doctor and lawyer friends that have more debt, like $200,000-$300,000 in debt. And they can't figure out how to pay that off, you know, because they're not making that kind of money, even being doctors and lawyers.
Yep. So it's like, how do you take that payment that you're getting and actually make it multiply? How do you use that to make it go further, paying off? Like, I paid off my student loans with trading stocks. Like, how do you do that? And I think like everybody at every level could use this skill. It's definitely one. But okay, so you said I could be transparent, so I'm gonna tell you the story. So yes, when you came to talk to me, it wasn't a surprise, because the Lord had already put it on my heart, and he had been planting seeds into me of this 1.5 million. And like, I can't even tell you like all the different ways it manifested, but like when you came to me and you were like, I want to start this business, and you said 1.5 million, I was like, oh, okay, Lord, so this is what you've been talking about. Because I already had this plan in my head of like, okay, well, how would I make 1.5 million? Well, if I was trading like $1 million account, and for me, I already trade $1 million accounts, so that wasn't something like crazy to me. I'm like, okay, if I'm trading $1 million account and I just wanted to make 1% a day, that's 10,000 a day. Well, okay, 10,000 a day, that's 50,000 a week, 200,000 a month. So in about 5 months, even if I wasn't, and like, here's the thing, for me, 1% a day sounds small. So I'm like, oh, okay, all I got to make is 10,000 a day. But if I make 10,000 a day, I can hit $1 million in 5 months. So I was like, okay. And this had already been going through my head before you reached out. So I'm like, okay, so in about 7.5, 8 months, I can raise 1.5 million just by making 10,000 a day. And so when you came to me, it was like, okay, Lord, so all this planning that I've been thinking through, this is what it's for. You want me to give 1.5 million for this business? Okay. And like, I'm the type of person with God. I'm like, okay, you said it, bet, let's go, because you big enough to do it. Like, okay, God, you got the resources. Clearly this is going to happen fine. So, so it wasn't even a thought. It was just like, yeah, that's okay. That's what we're doing. Cool. Let's go.
What I really love about it is that, okay, this is genius. I was going to go out and, you know, this is the season of giving. Everybody's giving money to Black things right now, right? So I was like, and I already had a few things lined up because it's a nonprofit. It's not, I mean, it's difficult. You know, you still have to put your game plan together. But, you know, when you ask people for money, you're at their mercy. I've been in this game long enough. I had a for-profit magazine. I got money, about $1 million from Bear Stearns. But there were so many strings attached to that money that I couldn't run my business. You know, I was made to feel I gave you this money, so you're going to do what I tell you to do. And rightfully so. You gave me this money. I have to kind of like bend in different ways that made my business not as viable as it should have been. Like, this should have been successful. But I was listening to people who gave me money. I don't want to be at anybody's mercy. I have a very clear vision about what this is and how to get it done. But if I take a check from somebody, I'm going to have to, and you should, right? You work at a job. You can't do whatever you want at a job. People are paying you a salary or giving you an investment. You got to have some adherence to what they want to do. The beauty of this is, of course, you're going to, you know, be on my vibe, because I trust and value your opinion, but you're doing this to let me do what I do. Mm-hmm. And people who sign up for the class are learning how to do what you teach. So it's win. when is it a win-win? You know, where people get to sign up for something, they get to learn a skill that will change their life, even if you make $100 a day. Your life is changed. And at the same time, you're not investing in something, but you're allowing for this thing to happen. And then we rinse and repeat. Like, I imagine this being a kind of Shark Tank eventually, where it's like, okay, Teri, this year, what business are we gonna like, and have people submit, and then we just, all right, Teri, go, like, make it happen. Let's do it.
Yeah. That's the part I'm excited about. I'm excited for people to be able to see that we really can invest in stocks to make money for things, and not only things, but big things. Like, we can fund big things from the stock market. And so I'm excited that we decided, and I guess we should probably explain kind of how we thought through this challenge.
I'm sorry,
but
let me just say, you know, I usually just hit record on the Zoom thing and we just talk. Like, there's no prep. Like, I didn't call. Well, here's what we're going to talk about, Teri. Here's the list we're going to go through, because I feel like, you know, this is such a transparent situation that we're going to have a conversation. Y'all going to be a part of this conversation. You're going to be part of this journey if you decide to rock with Teri and learn how to do this stock thing. But, you know, we're just having a conversation, you and I, about what we had a conversation about off mic a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Right. And one thing too, I feel like sometimes people are like, oh, you know, they can't do this without us. No, we're going to both make this happen. Like, I'm going to be trading and making money. Karen is going to have the hub, and it's going to have media around the world. We're going to do this. We're just letting everybody else into the conversation. But so we decided that to get the 1 million, we're gonna look at all the people that buy my course, using, like, through Karen, all the people that buy the course using the hub, like the hub promo code. I'm going to put that money into a fund, and then that's what I'm going to trade in order to make the 1.5. So technically it's still like my money because people are buying the course. But the cool thing is I'm going to open the doors to show you guys what I'm doing. And that's something that I haven't done before. Like, I'll trade, and I sometimes will post on Instagram, like, how much I made, or I'll post on YouTube. But, like, because this is a journey for everybody, then everybody's going to know, okay, like, my money went into this, like, you know, like, it was part of the effort. And then all those students, like, I'm teaching y'all how to trade anyway. So now you'll get to have, like, an open door and picture into, okay, is Teri making $10,000 a day? Like, how much did you make today? And my excitement is it's going to hopefully encourage other people to know, oh, I can trade for short-term active income right now. Because a lot of, I think, Black people and people in general, we only think about investing for the long run. But if they see me do it, then maybe they'll start realizing, oh, I could do this for myself. Like, I could use this to pay for daycare. I could trade stocks to pay for my assistant. I could trade stocks to pay for my debt. Like, you know, like, you don't have to make a ton of money to have, like, investing help you right now. So that's what I'm excited about.
I love that. So, Teri Ijeoma, as you're talking, I'm also thinking about, you know, all of the people out there who, you know, are afraid to get into the stock market. There was a story I read recently where it talked about that there's going to be a crash in the market. Like, this can't last. And, you know, there's bulls and bear markets, the ebbs and flows. You know, they're worried about this election, and that's going to have an impact, and the market's going to crash, and blah, 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 blah. But the cool thing, and I, for the record, I do not invest in stocks as a swing trade is what you do. I don't swing trade because I'm too emotional. I know myself. I also have an addictive personality. And if I have one day where I make 3,000, I'm going to think every day I'm going to make 3,000. And I'm going to not use all of your rules because I don't read all the instructions when I put stuff together. I already know me. There's always a screw or two left after I get a box because I don't follow the instructions because I think I'm smart. So I could figure it out. And that's a mistake. So I know that about me. So I steer clear of things that are going to hurt me. I trade dividend stocks, me personally. But talk about why this is not a gamble and this is not, you know, ebbs and flows of the stock market. If the market crashes, that you're still going to be okay. Talk about that.
Yeah, I remember actually when we first met and I was sitting next to you. I think actually I said it on the stage and then I mentioned it again when we were talking. I said, like, I specialize in making money when the stock market goes down. Like, that's actually my specialty. If you were to look at my track record, it would say shorting. So shorting is making money on the way down. Like, I make a ton of money when the market crashes. So I'm actually super excited for the market to fall. So today, like there was this little one drop and I was like, oh, is it here? And then it started coming back up. I was like, oh man, like, so when the market falls, like we might end this challenge super fast. It'll be one of those days where it's like, oh, I have good news and bad news. Good news is we made 1.5. Bad news is I did it in one day. I'm sorry, Karen. Like the challenge is over.
Oh man, and then we could start early on the next business. That would make me extremely happy because I feel like as people, and I'm specifically talking about Black people because disproportionately we are impacted by the negativity, the racism, or whatever. But I don't want that to be a crutch. I don't want us to always, well, racism is what, yes, it is a racist system that we're in, but the system has rules and the system has ways. And if the system has indoctrinated us into not being a part of something because we were traded, we were on that auction block, we were a commodity on Wall Street, if that has a feeling where we don't want to be involved in something that is literally powering and making trillionaires. Apple crossed the $2 trillion mark. Apple.
Yes.
And this is not a game, people. You talked about Elon Musk, but Jeff Bezos is making like $1 billion a day. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what is happening here? So talk a little bit about that too, and how we should be conditioning our minds to be involved in the very thing that powers wealth in this country.
Yes, it's totally a mindset thing. Like literally, we just talked about how much wealth is being generated. And I think somebody in your head, your first thought was, or for people, I just think their first thought is, okay, well, if all these white people are doing it, then we can't do it. Like there's this kind of thing of like, oh, well, we can't win against the banks, so don't try. And I don't know where that came from of like a don't try mentality. But the thing is, we can actually follow the banks and be able to make the same kind of money. So like when I'm teaching my students, I'm teaching them how we're reading charts. We're technical analysis traders. I'm a technical analysis trader. So I'm looking at the chart to see where are the banks buying, like where is that million share order sitting in the computer? And you can tell that from the candles, like reading a stock chart. And then I'm looking at where are the big banks selling? Like we know that banks are getting ready to sell right now, which is why we are probably going to have a pullback. I'm ready for that. But we can tell that on the front end looking at a chart. And then we follow the big banks. So we're following the big money. We're not getting crushed by the banks. We're actually like getting on their tailwinds. Oh, what do you say? Tailwinds?
Tailwinds.
Yeah, something like that. But we're just following along and we actually can make money too. So that is kind of how we're investing. I'm a technical analysis trader. I'm looking at charts and I'm going along with where big banks are buying and selling stock. And the problem is a lot of times as novice investors, you're actually going against where the big banks are buying. You're late to the game. You're getting into stocks at highs because of like fear of missing out. And then when you do lose, it's like, oh man, the market is rigged against me. It's like, no, you did it wrong. Like there was no education there.
So as you're saying that too, the notion that I can't do something, which I think maybe less people feel that. I think they feel, I don't know enough. You're an MIT grad. Teri Ijeoma, you went to MIT, so you're pretty smart. I didn't go to MIT and I'm bad at math. I don't really like math. It makes my head hurt. What do you say to that?
You don't have to be super smart. One, you have an MIT grad teaching you, so that's nice. And you have someone who worked in elementary schools. So like I can break it down, make it real simple. So like one, you have a good teacher. That'd be like my first comeback to that. And then two, a lot of investing is actually not about math. It's more about understanding buyers and sellers. So the best people I think for investing are those people who are a little business savvy. Like you don't have to have gone to college to know how to buy and sell things, or even to go into a store and like be able to identify, oh, I'm gonna wait for that to go on clearance. Get it when it comes down. Like that's what we're doing with stocks. We look at really good companies, but we get it on clearance. Those kind of skill sets, I think, are more common knowledge, like business savvy things. And if you can understand that, you could be actually a good investor.
Tell me about some of your success stories. Tell me about some of the people that, the $1,000 a dayers.
Oh my gosh. So I told you we got 320. There are so many good stories. So one of them is a fireman in New Orleans. And like one thing I love about him is he said that he's like, I love my job, which praise God he does, because we need firemen in New Orleans. I'm sure the fire department is happy that he likes his job. But he said, but Teri, I used to have to work a lot of overtime, and he just hit the $1,000 in a day. And let me give you guys, or like, let me just say, it doesn't have to be every day. It's just the fact that you've mastered the skill set to make it in a day. So like he might, when he trades today, he may make 1,000. He may not trade the rest of the week, and that's okay. But he knows how to make $1,000 in a day. But he told me, he's like, okay, Teri, I'm so excited that I don't have to work as much overtime anymore, because now I've learned how to make 1,000 in a day. So like, just think, he's the head of his household. That just freed up time with his family, gave him quality time with the rest of the people around him. He said like, now he's able to kind of teach them. So now we got the whole fire department. This is me imagining in my head, but I'm like, oh, now the whole fire department is like thinking about investing. So we're impacting the whole city now, because we got the whole New Orleans fire department thinking about investing. But like, that's the kind of cool stuff that's going on. I have one other student, her name is Alicia. She sent me a picture. So we got tons of pictures too. I got to send you some pictures. But she told me that she's now made enough, or learned how to make enough with investing to cover her bills so that she can pocket her whole check from work. And like, yes, like just imagine if she keeps doing that, like now her savings is going to go up, like all the things that she can do with that money, like she's pocketing her whole work check. That's huge. So those are some of the stories. I'm so excited for my students.
As I'm thinking about the thousands of people who are going to learn how to do this. They're going to teach their kids how to do this. They're going to teach, because, once you start getting good at something and you're showing and proving, people in your life are going to want to know what's up. So now you have, like you said, with the fire department, but we're going to have whole communities, right? So taking your class, right? And this is not even about what you're going to do for the hub. I love it, right? But as you said, it was going to happen anyway. This is for me, like I always want to test a theory. I don't know if something's going to work until you do it. I don't know. We've never done this before. I don't know if anyone's ever done this before. And when we think about crowdfunding, which we've seen, that's not this. This is empowerment funding. This is about empowering the people who are taking this class to do their own thing in their lives. And the byproduct is we also get to fund businesses. I've never seen this before. So I'm like, can it work? Listen, if you even come halfway, we good. You know what I'm saying? Like I can make it work. But the reality is you are so competitive, which is what I love about you. And you like to flaunt your skills, that I think is going to happen. But even if it doesn't hit that mark at that time, how much further along are so many people? It's not even about us at this point in terms of their personal finance and their legacy.
Yes. Like I think about, there's one other student recently, he joined the class and his baby is going to a new school, and it cost $1,000 a month to send him to that new school. And so he's going to be trading just to afford to pay for that school. But like, even that, like that's $1,000 a month is really just about $25 a day that he has to make in the market. I think what's that? $25 a day is, or even let's just say $50. $50 a day is $250 a week, extra $1,000 a month. Yeah, so if he can just learn how to make $50 a day in the stock market, he can afford to send his child to this really good school. Like that kind of stuff, like you said, no matter what, if I can just teach someone that skill set to empower their life, and now he's building legacy, his kid is going to know I can trade to go to school. Like that. Like if he keeps that mindset the rest of his life, like
that's gonna be dope.
It's cool. Yeah.
And for as time, you trade mostly when the market opens, and then you trade mostly when it closes. And so that alone means that you have the rest of the day to do whatever. So it's not like you're spending 8 hours trading.
Not at all. I usually, like yesterday, I made about 33,000 in a day. And I'm like, lately I've been trading myself for a new swimming pool. I want to build a pool in the back of the house, but it costs like $91,000. So I said, okay, I got to trade for this swimming pool. So yesterday I spent like 2 hours trading and I made $33,000. And it honestly was less than 2 hours. It was probably more like 20 minutes, but I watched the market for about 2 hours. So yeah, like I don't spend a whole bunch of time trading, but I love it, so it's fun. Class, if you want to learn everything from intro to stocks, risk management, technical analysis, trading plan, but then keep going to like shorting, how to make money when the market falls, gaps and glowbacks, and then options trading, that's in the bigger course, and that's a $5,000 course, which I know is super cheap. Like if you've seen any other investing classes, you know they're like 25,000, 30,000, but my course, we're giving it to you for 5,000. And that's the full thing. But you don't even, if you're like, Teri, I would love to do that, but I can't afford that, that's fine. You can start with the first half, which we call trade and travel. It's the first 4 classes for just $2,000. And honestly, it's $2,500, but right now you're getting that discount for just $19.97. So click the link. Yes. So click the link, sign up now. Our next class starts September 1st. That's going to be our September cohort. So that's new student orientation, September 1st. So try to get in by then. If you come in after that, you can probably still be a part of the class, but really try to get in by that September cohort so that you can be with us.
And then we're going to check in periodically because we're going to be transparent along the way and find out how Teri's doing. And I know she's doing well because look at her house. Look at that house with cash. All right, listen, I'm so incredibly proud of you. More importantly, you know, it's good. I didn't know that people like you existed until I started doing this radio show and ran into people like Angela Matthews and Jackette Timmons and others who are in this financial space. I think Erica Williams is a buddy of yours. She also does great, and she's doing some great things. There are a lot of us who are in this space. When I say us, not me, there are a lot of you doing this. And the more of us that we know, the more possibilities there are that are open to us. So let me just thank you for opening the possibilities that I didn't know existed until I met you. So
thank you. And same here. Like you have been such a blessing in my life. You don't even know. Like half of my success is owed to you. So thank you so much, Karen.
Okay, well, this is going to work out. How do people follow you on the Instagram?
On Instagram, go to I'm an Investor. So it looks like Imani Investor, IMAN Investor. And then if you're just looking for, I have a free webinar that tells you how I make $1,000 in a day. Go to itradeandtravel.com, itradeandtravel.com. And then that way you can get a little bit more flavor of what we're doing and then get signed up for the class.
Teri, let's get this 1.5 million. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to get it, y'all. Sign up. Go to the description, click on the links. I'll put everything in there. Love you, Teri.
Love you too. Thank you, Karen.